So one of the big things with Go and Buggo for me, I guess, is challenging the way people feel about their environment. Because one of the things, like I said in the last video, is that how we're educated informs how we behave. What we believe about the world pretty much gives us license to behave the way we feel is best. But those behaviors are based off often incorrect information. And it's very, very easy for people to pick up bits and bobs along the way, passively learning, if you will, information that's patently wrong. Like a concept that's always bugged me is survival of the fittest. I actually just heard this not that long ago at an event I was at. There was a really great speaker who knew some really great stuff, but he kept mentioning this draconian idea of survival of the fittest in regards to agriculture. And what he was talking about was this belief that in Charles Darwin's pivotal work on the origin of species, he was suggesting that the strongest survive and the smartest survive. That in the environment, in the natural world, things kill each other, and the stuff that kills other stuff best is strong stuff and smart stuff. And that idea has been latched onto a lot. And the idea of survival of the fittest gets used a lot to, encapsulate entire environments. The rainforest is a great example. I have heard other rainforest tour guides talk about trees and their behavior with each other and say it was survival of the fittest, that all trees are jostling to get to the canopy, trying to push each other out the way, and that it's a big fight to be the victor and be the fittest. See, the thing that's wrong with that idea is, firstly, Charles Darwin wasn't talking about physical fitness and overpowering each other. He was talking about genes that were more suited to surviving in the environment that organism was going to find itself in. A fitness to survive within the environment. Not being stronger than other stuff or killing things, but just being more adept at working within an environment and surviving in future generations within that environment. But the other thing is that with forests specifically and our understanding of them, we've known better than that for a very long time. In 1885, the same scientist who coined the term symbiosis, where two organisms mutually benefit each other by surviving together, he also discovered mycorrhizae. Now, mycorrhizae are a subfamily of fungus that live under the soil, and they live like a root system. And what they actually do is they form symbiotic relationships with plants, where the fungus will provide nutrients to a plant, and the nutrient will provide sugars to the fungus as an exchange for helping each other out. But mycorrhizae as an organism span huge areas, square kilometers of area. And in those areas, it's recently been sort of confirmed that mycorrhizae can connect and establish beneficial relationships with up to 95% of all plants, I think, is the number, which means that in a forest like this, it's safe to say that about 95% of the plants you can see are all actually connected to one fungus and all sharing within that fungal network different things for mutual survival. See, forests as ecosystems, and many other ecosystems are the same, work together as a closed system. Everything works together with everything else, more or less, to survive mutually. There's a reason you don't find forests made up of one species and one species alone, and it's not that any one species isn't stronger than other species, it's that diversity is the key to success. But survival of the fittest, those 4 words, is all you have to say to most people for everybody to nod sagely and understand that strong things kill weak things and that's how the world works, which is absolutely incorrect. I mean, the idea gets contradicted in common pop culture quite a bit. You look at The Lion King. Mufasa sits Simba down and tells him that even though the lion eats the antelope, eventually the lion dies and feeds the grass, which feeds the antelope. There is a circle of life. Kids' movies, man. That idea is in a kids' movie, and people still somehow manage to miss the point. But the idea of survival of the fittest promotes, propagates capitalist behaviour where certain people leverage advantages that they have to gather all of the resources for themselves. And in that encapsulated idea, you then have 8 billion humans on this planet where only 1% of the population control 99% of the wealth and everybody else is disadvantaged. But that 1%, it's very likely, although I couldn't guarantee this because I've never met any of them, it's possible they all believe they're doing the best they can, adhering to the natural order because somebody somewhere along the lines in their life told them that that's survival of the fittest. It wouldn't be impossible to imagine that. So these propagated ideas that go unchallenged. Nobody reads Darwin's book on the origin of species anymore, except for, deeply entrenched biologists and scientists who also happen to like tedious tomes of history. But if you haven't read that book, then Darwin said survival of the fittest and everybody believed Darwin, so I should go out and kill weak people so I'm strong. And that's not how the world works. So with Gone Buggo, as innocent and simple as it seems, I'm asking you to challenge the things you think you know are right. Research them, question them, ask if they matter, because our natural world, and this is very important, the planet that we live upon is not built on things killing things for profit. It's built on things coexisting so that everything can survive. And throughout the eons that this planet has been spinning through space, the 4.2 billion years or whatever it is, although there have been things that have killed other things and there have been things that overpowered other things, balance, harmony, survival, success is dictated by mutually beneficial coexistence. And this is seen in environments and ecosystems like the Lion King said about the lions and the antelope. The same thing is seen in ecosystems where predators have been removed so that the prey can survive, because then the prey without predation overwhelm environments like Yosemite National Park, where the wolves were removed and the elk took over and killed the entire environment. When the wolves were reintroduced, the elk became controlled. That doesn't mean that the wolves are stronger than the elk. That means that together they are stronger than either one of them alone. That's survival. And that understanding, that idea, that belief, I suppose if you want to call it a belief, should start from the youngest age and should be instilled in kids at every level. If you look at sustainable societies that have existed on this planet, if you look at the pre-literate societies that did so well, you look at things like Indigenous Australians, they were raised to understand that the environment was all working together to make harmony. No one thing on this planet should have the power to just destroy anything or everything else and call themselves the victor. That isn't how it works. And if you think that through to a logical conclusion, if we kill every other living thing on this planet, eventually we're going to be eating each other, which isn't survival of our species. It then becomes the Hunger Games. And that's a problem too. These dystopian fictions that we like to immerse ourselves in are trying to tell us stories about our real world. But if you watch the movie and think it's just a movie, then you'll ignore the absolute point. And fiction, media, has been trying to teach you things your whole life. I mean, the scientist who understood mycorrhizae first in 1885 was friends with J.R.R. Tolkien, and that idea found its way into the Lord of the Rings. But I bet you don't remember that from the trilogy movies, do you? Because it didn't get put in there, because it was just an idea. James Cameron's Avatar was written in this forest, about forest ecology, about the perils of rampant capitalism and consumerism and destroying an environment to call yourself the victor. There are problems with the way that we engage with our environment now, and they deserve to be challenged. They deserve to be questioned. Now, I'm not telling you that I have the answers, because I don't. But if more people were questioning them, then together we could all work towards an answer that was more sustainable and more practical than what we're currently doing, which is pushing the climate to intolerable levels, which is making the planet unsurvivable for us and everything else, while simultaneously wiping out large numbers of the life on this earth without thinking twice about whether that's important. So, as innocent as it may seem for me to be photographing bugs so you can look at them closely in a cute little colourful photo, what I'm asking you to do is question the value of those bugs. Question your relationship with those bugs. Question whether or not those bugs mean something to us, or should mean something to us, whether they're in your backyard or my backyard or everyone's backyard. Because they've been on this planet for a lot longer than we have, and they keep this place running quite well. And we've come along and started challenging the way that it runs, and it's not working out well for anyone. So maybe we could learn more from bugs than we previously have. And that is a big part of what Gone Buggo is all about.